Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Top SST. So I am back with the chapter Globalization and Indian Economy. So this chapter is very important. Mostly this chapter is going to come for 5 marks. And this video will help you to revise the chapter. So 10 to 15 minutes, if you see the video, at least you will be remembering that what all things are important in this chapter. Let's start globalization and Indian economy. Production across countries. So production across countries, what do you understand by this? This is the first topic in your textbook. So trade was the main channel connecting distant countries. Large companies, which are called as MNC, that is multinational corporations, play a major role in trade. And MNC is a company. What is MNC? MNC is a company that owns or controls production more than one nation. MNC set up offices and factories for production in regions where they can get a cheap labor and resources that the company can earn greater profit. So they can ask you the question, what do you understand by MNC, and what are the factors which MNC looks into to establish their company or their factory or their outlet in some other country. So MNC is a company that owns and controls production in more than one nation. MNC, where all they will see, where they will get a cheap labor, other resources, that is raw materials, skilled labor, unskilled labor, and all the things wherever they are going to, the government policies, whether the government policies are favorable to them or not, what is the tax policy. So all this will lead to the MNC setting up their business in other nation. Interlinking production across the country. So the money that is spent to buy assets such as land, building, machines, and other equipment is called investment. So now when we talk about investment, what is foreign investment? Okay, so investment, sabhi log investment karte hain. Hum bhi like ek ghar le liya, so that is called an investment. Ek land le liya, that is called an investment. So what is now foreign investment? When the investments are made by MNCs, it's called as foreign investment. MNCs usually expertising in strong influence on production at these distinct locations. These are variety of the ways which are like, MNC are spreading, like, how MNC spread their company. Either they do the partnership with the local company, or they buy the local companies, or they supply raw materials to the local company, or completely they own up the thing. So you have two examples which you need to remember. One is Karik food yes, Kargil food. Okay, so that is the example which shows that how MNC started spreading across the nation. Foreign trade and integration market. Okay, so we have already learned about what is foreign investment. Now, what is foreign trade? Foreign trade always creates, like, imports and exports are the parts of the foreign trade. So when we talk about foreign trade creates an opportunity for the producers to reach beyond the domestic market. Okay, अपने geographical location से क्या करते हैं, हम बाहर चले जाते हैं export and import activities को देखने के लिए. So that is called as foreign trade. Producer can sell their products not only in the market located within the country. As I told you, they move out from the geographical location or the political location of the country, and they do their business with the other countries. Similarly, buyers have an option to choose among various goods beyond the domestically produced goods. Thus, foreign trade always results in connecting different countries. Now, what is globalization? Chapter ka naam hi hai bhai globalization. So you should know what is globalization. Globalization is the process. Please underline the keyword. Globalization is the process of rapid integration and interconnection of the country. Okay, rapid interconnection of the countries, matlab do ya do se zyada country when they come together for export and import. It's not necessary. More than two can also be happen. So MNC are playing a major role in the globalization process. For example, take an example of HDFC Bank. Okay, so HDFC Bank ka headquarter kahin aur hai, but we have seen that in India there are n number of branches of HDFC Bank. Okay, so like that we have lots and lots of other companies companies which are called as MNC. For example, you have Tisco, other examples, IT companies are also there. So globalization is nothing but when it is a process of rapid integration and interconnection between the countries. So when they do the rapid integration, what happens? More and more goods and services, investment, technology are moving from one place to another place. There is one more way in which the country can be connected. So how? The movement of people between the country. Now, what are the factors which enable globalization? There are three important factors. One is technology, one is your IT, that is information technology, liberalization policy, and your infrastructure. So all these factors plays a very important role. So liberalization, now you need to understand what is liberalization. Liberal का मतलब क्या होता है? Free. Okay, liberalization of foreign trade is nothing but removing trade barriers, or removing the trade barriers or restriction needs to be removed by the government. So when the government can use the trade barriers to increase or reduce the foreign trade. Suppose, for example, when Chinese toys were very much influenced in India, that time what India did, Indian government has put the trade barrier. Okay, so export, the taxes has been increased so that they will start discouraging the Chinese toys in the country. So that the tax on the import is an example of trade barrier. Removing barriers or restrictions set by the government on trade is known as liberalization. When the government imposes less restriction, that means it is called as a liberal. Now, what is WTO? WTO is a World Trade Organization. Those aim is to, what is their aim? Aim is to liberalize international trade. At present, 164 countries of the world are currently member of WTO. It has established rules for developed countries regarding international trade so that these countries can allow free trade all over. Impact of globalization. So when we talk about impact, we talk about general impact, we talk about merits, we talk about demerits. It's nothing but negative impact and the positive impact. So globalization has affected the lives of people. How it has affected? Okay, it has provided the greater choices to the consumer, who now enjoy variety of improved quality and lower prices of several products. So globalization ke wajah se kya hua? There are the same product. Take an example of mobile. You have n number of mobile, the companies who are selling, and the price goes down because of competition. So always who are in a beneficial side? It is a consumer who are in a beneficial side. It has resulted in a higher standard of living. Globalization also created a new opportunities for the companies, particularly here, IT company has boomed because of globalization. Some of the advantages, it helps in pooling all the resources together. Globalization also helps in development of underdeveloped countries, encourages free trade among nations. Then employment opportunity, when employment is there, poverty will reduce, vicious circle of poverty can be break. So these all are the advantages. When we talk about disadvantages, it may lead to the outsourcing of job. Okay, so cheap labor, availability of cheap labor will lead to the exploitation. It will benefit the wealthy people more than the poor, and definitely it can, when we start using the resources more and more, it will definitely affect, it will direct impact on environment. Struggle for fair globalization. Now, all the developed countries started struggling with the countries, even who are the part of WTO, they should or the developed country, they should play a game of fair globalization. So fair globalization creates an opportunity for all and also ensures the benefits of globalization are shared better. The government can play a major role in making this possible. Some of the steps that the government take, it can ensure that labor laws are properly implemented, workers are getting their rights. It can support small producers to improve their performances. If necessary, the government can use trade and investment barriers. Then it can negotiate at WTO for the fairer rules. The rules should be, if they have made certain rules, that rule should be followed. Then it also align with other developing countries with the similar interest to fight against the domination of developed countries in the WTO. Okay, WTO stands for World Trade Organization. Thank you. Do well and keep watching my quick revision. So it will definitely help you for your exam. Thank you. All the best, students.